Hey guys, Toe Jr. here with Bass Squad. I just want to talk about a topic that has kind of come to light recently, past probably 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there. Kind of started with the evolution of college bass fishing and a couple other things, but I think a lot of it has been a part of the influx of people wanting to get into our sport, of fishing. And with a hot button issue is you talk about these people. I'm not going to name names about who coined the term, but the 30 percenters or the people that, and we've talked about before. I know Casey uploaded a video kind of about it too. People that, for lack of a better term, kind of whore themselves out for companies. And they've been catching a lot of heat, and understandably so. I mean, it does get annoying to see, Swamp Buster, great jigs, best jigs made. And no, they're probably not. They're probably not the best jigs made. They're really probably not. And a lot of these people don't have, one, the critical thinking power, or two, the experience to make those statements. I mean, I've played the pro staff game. I've been there. I was on staff with a couple companies getting free product. And that kind of, like I said, one thing I want to keep out of Bass Squad is naming names. That gets really sticky. I don't want to do that. It pisses people off. It pisses me off when people call people out on stuff that you don't, especially on the internet, you don't know who they are. You don't know them. You have an idea. You think you know. I mean, yeah, I can go to a Facebook page and get a feel for somebody, but you don't really know their moral values or anything. But getting back to this roundabout thing is I've played the pro staff game. I've been there, and you do see a lot of people really pimping it hard. I've fished the college stuff for 5 years now, and I've seen college teams push for certain sponsors, and it is kind of annoying because you're fishing for this 20% discount, and the grand scheme of things, why, and you're pissing off companies. You're dropping them every other year to try and get the new fad. Who's going to give us the best deal, and you're really never standing behind a product. And that's, I think, the thing that gets lost in pro staffing is standing behind a product you truly believe in. And one thing I want to say is a little known fact is pro staff stands for promotional staff, not professional staff. Just because you're on pro staff doesn't mean you're a professional. It means you are promoting the company. And when you look at it that way, it's hard for me to ever stand behind a product I don't believe in. That's why I could never whore myself out for a company. And first of all, I'm not even good enough to really even get recognized by anybody. But therein lies the problem. I think a lot of people have a hard time putting their finger on exactly, but what they see is wrong with this. I mean, those people catch a lot of flack, and we all know them. We all see them, and odds are we probably all play the game at some point. But you talk about expanding the sport. Bass fishing, very niche sport. Deep roots in the Bible Belt. Throw it out there. You look at the Elite Series, half those guys are from the South. Not half, probably 3/4. And you haven't even really busted in. I mean, West Coast has made a push. The Upper Midwest, not really. You got KVD, JVD. You got a couple guys on Minnesota. Jim Manya on the FLW Series. Tom Mansour out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. Couple guys out of Illinois, but they're not, with the exception of KVD, you don't get that much love out of the upper Midwest. But when you try to expand the sport, everybody's trying to lose that image of Uncle Joe and the John Boat drinking beer with bobbers. Nobody wants that to be the image of bass fishing, I think, at all. But at the same time, you have this, I don't want to call them Bubbas, but that's kind of, you've got this, deeply southern-rooted people that are making a big push against accepting people wearing flat brim hats and, white sunglasses, or, basically if you're not a good old boy, you're not being accepted either. I mean, I understand that it does get annoying to see guys, pimping products when they really don't have any, I don't want to say legitimacy, but don't have a lot of experience or haven't built the clout to really be qualified to pimp something. But you can't just lock them out of the industry. I mean, that's the future. And a lot of criticism has been drawn towards high school fishing and college fishing. And sometimes fairly so. Sometimes fairly so. I mean, you do get a lot of hotheads coming out of high school into college stuff. You do get a lot of hotheads in the college world trying to be like, the next KVD or the next, Michael Jordan of bass fishing. And it does get annoying and it does get frustrating. It does for everybody. Everybody gets annoyed and frustrated at that stuff. But it's the same with any other sport. You go to a baseball tryout, you got the same guys that think they're freaking you're the next Bryce Harper or Mike Trout, or even go beyond that. They think they're going to be the next Hank Aaron. This is with every sport. It's called growing pains, and it's going to have to happen that way. And the problem that have been identified is fishing I've heard this isn't ready to accept this influx of anglers. And that's probably true. You look at the college fishing, let's face it, college fishing is losing its ass in money for a while now. Look at FLW college payoffs. They're dropping. Sponsors are dropping. And a lot of companies don't want to sponsor college fishing teams because you don't know who you're sponsoring. You got, 2 or 3 really good guys, and then you got 10 or 15 clowns, and who knows what the heck they're going to say. They could get up on stage and they're wearing, your company logo, and then they pimp their own stuff or different things. And I think that's all part of the growing pains in college fishing. Is we see college fishing and high school fishing as this great arena to get young people involved in the sport, to make the sport something bigger than it possibly could be without it. But the pushback, the absolute revolt almost by older anglers or guys that really just don't want to see that is really unnerving to me and upsetting too. Because when you advance the sport, you're going to get a bunch more people than you ever thought possible from a bunch of different backgrounds with a bunch of different interests. So regardless of who they personify themselves as, you have to understand that they now have skin in the sport. They have skin in the game. And I think it's easy to sit back and criticize and say, oh, these guys aren't that good. High school fishing, what a joke. College fishing, what a freaking joke. You're giving a bunch of college kids an avenue to just detonate themselves. And I don't think that is true 100%. I do think college fishing does give a platform for some real knobs to get their name out there, and I might even be one of them. I don't know. You don't even know who I am, really. You can look at my stats, whatever. Go right ahead. I'm not claiming to be anybody. I'm just me. I'm Ted Johnson from Central Wisconsin, who just loves bass fishing. But these are some observations I've made. And the way I see it, bass fishing is an industry, and same with I think a lot of other sports too, it's kind of like a funnel. You've got a pinch point where the people who are good enough will make it. And I think all that high school fishing and college fishing has done is expanded the mouth of the funnel, but the point where they start pouring into the professionals hasn't expanded. And you could say that it's because companies are fawning to these, 30%, whatever, these discount anglers. That's what I'm going to call them, discount anglers. So there's less money going into it. But I really don't think that's the case. I think with the greater influx of younger anglers in today's sport, you're going to see the mouth of that funnel move apart. You're going to see more money come into it eventually. What we haven't seen is circuits have not and companies have not seen the exchange for their sponsorship product. They have yet to see a guy who is a big college fisherman go to the Classic and win it, or make a really strong performance. And Andrew Upshaw, great angler. I've talked to him once or twice. I don't know. He doesn't know who I am, but I'm doing the name drop. But I mean, he's one of the young guys out of college fishing that we're all rooting for. We're all rooting for him because we know once a couple guys make it, it's going to be more widely accepted. These younger guys coming up. Zach Caudle on the FLW side, I mean, we're all pulling for him big time. I mean, you've got college fishing behind you, you guys. I don't know if you guys know that, but everybody's rooting for you because your success is going to be linked to college fishing's success. And we all want to see this go somewhere. We don't want to see it go to the wayside. We don't want to see it be labeled as, an opportunity for a bunch of people just to showcase their broness. That's the thing you see in fishing too, the fishing bros. What I mean, learn to live with it. So what? You don't like it? Ignore them. Who cares? You don't need to go calling them out. So what? It is what it is. It's, like I said, it's the same with every sport. So which is why I find it so funny when people try to protect fishing. The old way. Diluting the classic, or ruining the prestige of fishing. I don't think so. There's a strong case to be made. I'm not going to deny that fact. There's a strong case to be made. But I think if you look beyond that, you're going to see that what these younger anglers are doing for the industry is better in the long run than the short return. Because now these people will forever be glued into the market. And I think that's the big deal, is they have a foot in the door. Okay, so what? They get 10% off a rod. It's not hurting you. I mean, you can say, well, it's stretching the opportunities of the fishing market out, so the real guys can't get money. If you're that good, you're probably going to get the cash. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to try and go professional fishing. Am I going to try and live the dream? Sure. Why not? If I get the opportunity, I'm going to go for it. In the meantime, I'm going to get my education, get a job, and be stable too. I'm not going to attach my rope to this fantasy land of, if I just do it, I'll make it. No, I mean, I know my limitations. I know I'm not that good right now. Do I want to get better? Yeah, I want to get a lot better. But for right now, I know what my limitations are. And I think sometimes that does get lost in the fishing world, because I don't think people realize, especially young guys, how absolutely shitty that lifestyle is or can be. I mean, I know it's been oversaid, but Mike Iaconelli's fishing on the edge. Don't read it for the glory of his successes. Read it for the absolute shit he had to go through. I mean, that's absolute terrible stories. And with the college fishing, we're all broke. So we show up with terrible hotels. I've been in hotels in Texas with bloodstains on the fucking floor. Sorry, it was disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And that's kind of the lifestyle you're going to have to choose unless you're going to want to be one of the elite guys. I mean, look at the classic field. Half those guys you probably don't even know. Don't tell me that some big company is paying them out cash, because they're not. Or they're not paying them enough to live really well. And I think that is another distinction that needs to be made between, the new guys, the whatever you want to call them, and the crusty vets. Is the veterans have been through the ringer, and I think they see the optimism and get a little salty towards it. And that's fine. I mean, I've done the same thing too. This is my last couple of years in college fishing. I see these young guys come up, and it's like, really, you think you're going to make it? I didn't make it. Why are you supposed to make it? So when you adopt that saltiness, you start to shut people out, and that will not further the sport at all. I think that's a major detriment to it. So be careful. I mean, you never want to make enemies. And you can say, saying the truth, I speak the truth. Well, maybe. And sometimes the truth does hurt. And I think some guys need to get hit with the truth more often. I say it right now. I mean, some guys just need to know that, hey, you're still a nobody. I'm still a nobody. Our bass squad's still nothing to where we want it to be. But how does locking those anglers and throw out the entrepreneurs out of the industry advance anything? We don't want this to be an elite club. We need a password to get in. No. This needs to be open to all avenues of walks of life, and it's going to take a long time for people to get used to it. Throw out there right now, I mean, a lot of people just don't like change. They don't like it, and I think that's where you see the pushback. The industry is changing. You can say it for the better or for the worse, but it's changing. And we don't want to see it go for the worse, and sometimes you kind of look at it and get worried. This fishing's a money sport, almost more so than any other sport I've ever been involved in. Fishing's a big-time money sport. If you don't have, so everybody's got their hands out. It's true. Everybody has their hands out for money. I mean, who wouldn't take money to go fishing? But just because they're accepting of any help doesn't make them bad people, and it doesn't mean that they've lost sight of what they want to do. So that's my 2 cents on that. Like I said, I'm not going to say a lot about who I'm hearing this from. I'm not going to say it because I'm not in the business of calling people out. You do your thing, I'll do mine, and we'll see what happens. but I don't want to see this army of hate be built against these younger anglers trying to come up. Trust me, fishing's a brutal sport. They'll get weeded out no problem. And that's something you have to understand too. You see some of these bros and whatever, they're gonna get tossed to the wayside. It's not a big deal. The best anglers do rise to the top. It's just, the cream always rises. No matter how tight the fishing industry is right now, it doesn't mean there's not room for really good anglers. If you're really good, you will find your way to the top. So I guess that's my 2 cents on that. Seeing if I didn't cover anything. So that's kind of my thing with college fishing and high school fishing. I guess it's still in its infancy, so I don't want to judge it too fast. I do see its flaws big time. There are definitely some big time flaws in it. But nothing is perfect the first time you roll it out. And I like what FLW did about bringing your own boats. I mean, I understand a lot of college kids don't have boats, and that's fine too. I mean, that's, if you're a nice enough guy, good enough angler, you'll find somebody who does have a boat. These are partner tournaments. But I like that college fishing is not holding anglers' hands as much. Because we've had more federation guys do well than college anglers. And that's kind of unnerving to me. I understand federation guys can be older and a lot more experienced and have more money, but at some point we do need a college angler to break through. We do need a guy who really believes in high school fishing to break through. Palnick kind of reinvigorated the Bass Federation. If Brandon Palnick can do it, well, I'm going to try it. And Brandon Palnick is I'm throwing out there, one of the best things I've ever seen. His drive is unreal, unmatched. And you say, well, not everybody has that drive. Well, so what? Let him try. Let him try. Like I said, it's a funnel factor. And worst case scenario, you still love fishing and you're still buying products and you're still talking good about it. So keep it positive, people. I know it can be tough. I know you want to shake your head at some people, and that's fine. But be accepting. I mean, this sport has a lot more room to grow, and I think it can grow really out of its roots based in the Bible Belt. I really think it can. And I don't want to use Bible Belt as a derogatory term. I just use it as a location. And you know where it is, too. The down southern part of the east side of the country. Fishing has the potential to have a much further reach than that. And I think we need to break the mold. I really do. And I think until we break the mold, it's going to be hard for people not from Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, Texas to go anywhere because it's hard to be accepted. So that's my 2 cents. So if you like our stuff, subscribe, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'm sure somebody's going to dig on me for trying to get likes and follows. I'm just trying to build our online community because we're just 4 guys that love to have fun and love to interact. So shoot us an email. Ty's podcast has been going over great. So if you want to talk on that, shoot us an email, drop us a line, tweet, Facebook, message, whatever. So, okay, well, I hope you enjoyed it. I will see y'all on Twitter, the Facebook world, the social media world.